Hello, my name is Rebecca Madsen from Westminster College, and today I will be talking to you about national air quality and its effects on adult asthma, a time series analysis. Air quality and asthma, among other respiratory illnesses, are a continued struggle for many communities. In addition, the continued growth of the national and global population warrants our nation's pollution to continue to increase. This, in turn, will give to a worsening in respiratory conditions and an increase in respiratory troubles such as asthma. Using data provided by the CDC's National Environmental Public Health Tracking Network query tool, statistical analysis was used to see if there's a relationship between the average number of days above PM 2.5 standard levels nationally for the US and the percent of adults diagnosed with asthma who report they currently have asthma nationally in the US through the period of 2011 to 2016. The variables were looked at both individually through exploration, filtered, transformed, and put against each other with the period established using the statistical tool R. Basic statistical analysis and time series modeling were used as a way of testing for a causal relationship between air quality and asthma. First, let me define some of the variables and terms we will be using through this presentation. Time series analysis, which is the model that I chose to use, is a statistical technique that deals with trend analysis and data in a series for a particular time period or intervals. Besides looking at these variables separately through time series analysis, we will also be using this model for cross-sectional analysis because we have one or more variables collected at the same point in time, which our period again is 2011 to 2016. PM 2.5 refers to the particles that have a diameter less than 2.5 micrometers and remain suspended for long periods of time, affecting our air quality amongst other air particles that cause the pollution we see today, especially in bigger cities. This pollution and PM 2.5 particles affect respiratory illnesses such as asthma, which affect the lungs or upper airway. Because I am looking at asthma, which is a condition that interferes with a person's airway, causing it to be inflamed and making it difficult to breathe, I thought it would be interesting to see how that correlates with PM 2.5 levels. First, after pulling the data files into R from the CDC's query tool tracking network, I explored the data a bit, leading me to filter both the variables to help with the skewedness. I then ran a basic transformation on the variable of average PM 2.5 levels using a log function since it appeared to be rightly skewed. Then I proceeded to start with the time series analysis. First, as we can see from Figure 1 and Figure 2, I explored the trend line of each variable separately. Figure 1 shows the percent of adults still reporting asthma against the time periods of 2011 to 2016. It shows a general plateau with some increase and some decrease through that time period of 5 years. Figure 2 shows the percent of days above the standard level of PM 2.5 against the period of 2011 to 2016. It shows a general increase from that 5-year period, specifically between the years of 2013 and 2015, where we can see a significant increase of percent of PM 2.5 levels, standard above average. Figures 3 and figure 4, I used the Holt-Winters function, which is used to fit an exponential model for limiting the squared prediction error in a time series forecasting for prediction, which is the red line seen on figures 3 and 4. Figure 3, which is the Holt-Winters exponential model on the percent of adults still reporting asthma for the 5-year period of 2011 and 2016, shows a general decrease with a slight increase after the year of 2014. Figure 4 shows the Holt-Winters exponential model fit for the percent average days above the standard for PM 2.5, again for the periods of 2011 to 2016. As we can see from the exponential fit red line, there's a general increase of PM 2.5 levels averaged standard. Now, as mentioned before with this time series analysis, figure 5 shows the cross-correlation between both the variables of adults with percent of asthma reported and the average days of PM 2.5 levels. Each spike on the 0 line across the x-axis, parallel with the x-axis, are lags, which represent a year that will tell us if there's any correlation for that specific spike. As we can see, most of the spikes are close to the 0 line, telling us that these two time series are not identical, and because they do not cross the blue dashed lines at -1 and 1 with the y-axis, that there is no correlation between the two time series variables. This concluded my basic review of time series analysis for the variables of percent asthma and average days above PM 2.5 standard levels. From the time series analysis conducted, I found that there is no correlation between the percent of adults diagnosed with asthma, stating it is still present, and the percent of days above the standard PM 2.5 levels per the years of 2011 and 2016. We can tell this based from the cross-correlation graph, figure 5, which shows the lags for both percent asthma and average days above PM 2.5 levels not crossing the dashed blue lines at 1 and -1 on the y-axis, telling that there is no correlation between the two variables. To further explore these variables and see a possible association, I would have to do a more in-depth statistical and time series analysis to see if there's any sort of association between asthma percent reported in adults and PM2.5 levels. Here we can see my references on the bottom right corner. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Thank you.